What it do ski YouTube? It's your boy Malcolm checking back in. And yes, I'm back with another Yeezy. But this one, honestly, it's one of my favorite silhouettes. I'll be honest with you, when it comes to the Yeezy silhouettes, whether it's the 700, the 500, the 350s, there's kind of a hierarchy between all of them. And for me, at least right now, the 700 is definitely at the top of that list when it comes to recent releases. So if the title hasn't given it away already, I want to give you a closer look at one of the latest Adidas releases in the 700 silhouette, specifically the MNVN in the Bright Cyan colorway. So before all that, as per usual, if you enjoy the content, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. Appreciate the love, appreciate the support, appreciate all the interaction in the comment section. All of you are great, and I honestly mean that. But with that being said, no long talk. Let's take a closer look at the box. So first things first, when it comes to this Adidas silhouette and the kind of Adidas Yeezy collaboration, it's super minimal and super clean. Like they really get straight to the point. And with the box, that's no difference at all. So for this 700 box, they actually opted to go with the usual Adidas Yeezy branding. And with that, I mean that it's gonna have the 700 on top, the boost on the actual lateral side, as well as the Adidas hit on the front of the box with the usual sliding mechanism that we come to love with all the Adidas boxes. And I will say, when it comes to the Yeezy boxes, they're super easy if you have a collection. They kind of just stack together like bricks. So I like it. But let's take a closer look at the shoe. Sliding that out. Woo. These are, and I hope the camera's picking this up. These are an interesting color. Like this is like a summertime, you're at a cookout, you just left the pool colorway. These are crazy. Let's take a closer look at these because there's definitely a lot to talk about today. So when it comes to this shoe, I'll be honest, there has been about 10,000 releases of the Yeezy 700, and I'm not mad at that at all. Not all of them are hits though, I'll be honest with you, but I think with this one specifically in this bright cyan colorway, this is gonna be a head turner right away. Blue is my favorite color, if you couldn't tell by now, and this is just really like kind of that light blue with the darker cyan accent on the toe box. This is something special. All black outsole, and they have the boost in there too. Ooh-wee, this is it's cool. You can tell I like the shoe better than I thought when I was looking on the internet and looking at pictures before I had this in hand. So in terms of background, there's not too much on this shoe. The MNVN silhouette is kind of a take from the Yeezy 700 V3, but the only difference between a regular V3 and the MNVN kind of diffusion brand, if we can, is that they opted to keep the Adidas boost in the outsole, making it super comfy, while the regular V3 actually doesn't have that. So when it comes to the details of the shoe, where better to start than the upper? And the upper of the shoe is a very interesting material. You can see right away that, you can hear that, huh? It's a kind of like a polyester sound, and it is a polyester feel as well. We have the reflective Adidas Yeezy branding, and I believe it is reflective too. So if someone wants to flash a light on this or a camera wants to snap a picture of this, then it would actually glow bright silver, which is always cool. And it is a pretty bright shoe already, so I ain't mad at that at all, just kind of sticking with the theme of things. The upper is really broken down into two parts. The first part being this all-encompassing kind of polyester upper, and I believe Adidas called it like a silled upper. So what that means is it's all glued on into one piece. And if you take a closer look at the toe box specifically, it's really just one cohesive piece all around the shoe with a couple of black accents in this rubber material, as well as the actual toe box rubber is too. So I do like it, and it's pretty bright, I'll be honest. So lateral side, there's a lot going on with the reflective 700. Medial side, it is pretty plain. There's no Adidas branding. There's really just a black outsole to kind of contrast things. And moving on to the front of the shoe, with the toe box, there is a decent amount of combinations here. We have the bright cyan on the top of the toe box. Towards the end of the toe box, it's more of kind of like a royal blue, if you will, or a darker cyan. On the left and right side of the shoe, there is these same polyester hits with the 3M hits as well, kind of in the shape of a V, really giving this a more aggressive look to a shoe that otherwise is just kind of a slip-on water shoe, if you will. And above the toe box, Adidas actually opted to stick with all the polyester hits as well. And when it comes to the lacing, it is something different than what you're used to. So honestly, I didn't know before seeing in hand that this shoe has what they call like an infinity loop or kind of like a Yeezy loop lacing system. So these laces actually don't come apart. It's a slip-on shoe, and not knowing that, you should probably get your true size if you'd like a more snug fit. But if you have a wider foot or you like a little bit more wiggle room in the toe box, you may want to size up, because once you have the shoe on your foot, it's going to have to wear in. But the tighter it is when you actually initially buy it, the more it can kind of break down versus already having a loose shoe to start with. So that's something to keep in mind. And let me know if you think my sizing is accurate from having some in your collection. That's just my experience, and I have a pretty narrow foot myself. On the top of the tongue, Adidas actually opted to kind of give a dip in that from the usual tongue branding that's going on everywhere else on the Adidas line. And moving on to the guts of the shoe, super minimalistic as well. Yeezy actually opted to opt for just two things really. So obviously we have the black lining for the sock liner, contrasted by the inner of the shoe, which is really just the inside of the polyester of the upper, so super, super bare bones. And when it comes to the insole, all blacked out as well, with two pieces of branding, one in gray being Yeezy, and also the Adidas trifold logo and branding too. Moving on to the back of the shoe, they actually opted to really stick with the rest of the uniform of the cyan blue. So it's cyan all around, as well as the black hits in the reflective material. It looks kind of like an X from this angle, which is cool. So it's a very, very symmetrical shoe, other than the 700 on the lateral side. But with that being said, more 3M hits on the back, and this is all contrasted by a dark black outsole. So when it comes to this outsole, I think that once again, this is probably one of the most relevant parts. They use Boost in this shoe. So for those of you who don't know, and from my personal experience, Boost is easily one of the most comfortable materials in any type of shoe when it comes to outsoles, and there's a bunch of it in this shoe. Like, look at this. Simple enough. We have a herringbone track pattern on the outsole. You can see the white Boost actually peeking through for most of the shoe, which is sweet. And it's in there, like, it's filled to the brim, and it really adds a real level of comfort to what is already a real bulky shoe. So I do like that too. And the last thing I wanted to talk about in this iteration was the midsole. So it's all blacked out in the usual Yeezy 700 fashion. Usually on some 700 models, if you see these ridges here, they're actually kind of alternative colors, but they opted to give it an all black Mystique look in here because the rest of the shoe already does the talking for it with the bright cyan upper. So aside from the shoe, I know that there's some details that you've been waiting on when it comes to sizing, as well as when it comes to release dates. So this shoe is actually slated to release on June 7th, and please keep an eye on normal social channels for the release methodology, whether it's a raffle or first come, first serve. You know, let's switch it up sometimes. Make sure to stay locked and turn on those post notifications. As I was alluding to before, sizing for this shoe is gonna be a little bit weird because you can't adjust the laces. It is a slip-on shoe, so my suggestion to you would be that whatever your true size is in Yeezys, if you have a narrow or you like a regular fit, stick to that. And if you're a wide footer or if you like a little bit more wiggle room in the toe box, feel free to size 0.5 or size up, and you can't go wrong either way. So with that being said, that's about it for today's video. I know it's kind of an eyeful, if you can say that, in terms of the color and in terms of the silhouette. And honestly, it's gonna be the loudest shoe in the room most places that you go. So I'm interested to know, what are your opinion on the shoes? I've been talking about it for the last couple of minutes, but hey, what do I know? I'm just a random guy on the internet. Let me know what your thoughts are. Is this an instant cop for you? Is it good that Yeezys have become so accessible now? Or is it an easy pass given everything else coming out in the year and how much of an influx of 700 there has been, at least over the past couple of months? Let me know, and I'm interested to start a dialogue to see what are your opinions on this, and if it would be something that you'd want to add to your collection. And in terms of today's video, that's really about it. I think I've given you enough details to make an informed decision. My opinion is that this shoe is fire, or kind of like icy because it's blue, you know, very thematic. I like to be that way. We'll leave it at that for today. If you want to stay in the loop with everything sneaker and streetwear related, you got to follow Normal on all social channels. Obviously, that's going to be YouTube, where you'll find me, my name is Malcolm. It's going to be Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to stay in the loop with everything streetwear and sneaker related, as well as the latest drops. I'll leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed the review. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Deuces.